It is the middle of the night, 40,000 years ago, and everyone you love is asleep on the ground around a low fire. Everyone except one person. She is awake, sitting a little apart, watching the dark line where the grass meets the trees. She is not anxious. She is not broken. She is doing the most important job in the group, and she does it because her body simply will not let her sleep when the others do. You have been taught that a person like her has a problem. For most of human history, she was the reason the rest of them woke up alive. You lie in bed at 2 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, and you feel like something has gone wrong with you. The house is quiet. The people you live with are asleep, and your brain is doing the opposite of what everyone else's brain seems to do so easily. You reach for your phone, you tell yourself you are tired, you count the hours you have left before the alarm, and none of it works. The word you have for this is insomnia. You treat it as a malfunction. What if it is a role? If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. Here is what you probably assume. Sleep is supposed to be uniform. Everyone goes down at roughly the same time, sleeps through the night in one solid block, and wakes refreshed. And the people who cannot do this are the exceptions who need to be fixed. There is some truth in it. The 8-hour night is real, sleep loss genuinely harms you, and modern life has wrecked millions of people's rest with screens and shift work and stress. So the standard story is not wrong exactly. It is just missing the part where the variation itself was the point. In 2017, an anthropologist named David Sampson and his colleague Charlie Nunn published a study that quietly rearranged how scientists think about human sleep. They spent 20 days living with the Hadza, a group of hunter-gatherers in northern Tanzania, whose way of life is one of the closest windows we have into how ancient humans actually lived. Sampson gave 33 adults small motion sensors to wear so he could track exactly when each person was asleep and when each person was awake, minute by minute through the night. What he found is one of the most striking numbers in all of sleep science. Across those 20 days and 33 people, there were only 18 minutes total when every single person in the group was asleep at the same time. On average, more than a third of the group was awake or sleeping lightly at any given moment in the night. Nobody planned this. Nobody took shifts. It happened on its own because the people in that group naturally went to sleep and woke up at different times. Here is what that actually means for you. A group like that is never fully undefended. There is almost always someone awake to smell smoke, hear a predator, notice a snake, feel the wind change. And the reason the coverage is so complete is that the sleepers are different from each other. The old wake early, the young stay up late, and scattered through every group are the light sleepers, the ones who surface at the smallest sound. Scientists call this the Sentinel Hypothesis. The idea goes back to a researcher named Frederick Snyder, who proposed in 1966 that broken, staggered sleep was not a flaw in social animals but a defense system. Sampson's Hadza data turned that idea from a guess into something you can measure. The variation in when people sleep is not noise in the system. It is the system. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. Now think about who filled those roles. In the Hadza study, the older adults tended to fall asleep early and wake in the small hours, while younger adults drifted off late and slept past dawn. Between them, they covered almost the entire night without ever agreeing to. And the person who woke over and over through the night, the one who never quite dropped into that heavy, uninterrupted sleep, was not failing at anything. In a group sleeping on open ground, that person was the smoke alarm. Your sleep is controlled by a set of internal clocks, and those clocks do not run at the same speed in everyone. Some people are wired to peak in the early morning. Some people do not come alive until midnight. Sleep researchers call these chronotypes, and they are heavily shaped by your genes, not your discipline. The teenager who cannot fall asleep before 1 in the morning is not lazy. Their clock is genuinely set later, and it will drift earlier again as they age. A group made entirely of early risers would have been blind after midnight. A group made entirely of night owls would have been blind at dawn. Survival needed both, and it needed the ones in between. So the light sleeper, the early waker, the person whose nights are thin and interrupted, was carrying a specific kind of value. Their brain stayed partly on guard when other brains switched off. They surfaced fast. They noticed things. In a world where the threat came in the dark and the cost of missing it was everyone you loved, a nervous system tuned to wake easily was not a defect the group tolerated. It was a job the group depended on. Here is the part that might change how you lie in bed tonight. The thing your body does at 2 in the morning, the light sleep, the sudden waking, the sense of being switched on when you want to be switched off, is not a modern accident. It is ancient equipment, and it worked. For hundreds of thousands of years, the people wired the way you are wired were not the weak links in the group. They were the ones the group could not afford to lose. Your restlessness is old, and it was needed, and it kept people alive. What broke was not you. What broke is the setting. You are running Sentinel wiring in a bedroom with a lock on the door, a roof over your head, and nothing in the dark that means you harm. The alarm system still works perfectly. There is just nothing left for it to guard. And so it fires at shadows, at tomorrow's meeting, at a sound in the walls, because a body built to keep watch does not know that the watch is finally over. That does not make the sleepless nights easier. Being tired is still being tired, and there is nothing romantic about staring at a ceiling when you have to work in 5 hours. But there is a difference between lying there feeling like something inside you is broken and lying there knowing you are the descendant of the ones who kept the fire watch. You come from a long line of people who could not sleep when everyone else did, and because of them, everyone else woke up. The next time the night finds you awake while the whole house sleeps, you might remember that this was once the most trusted job in the world, and that you were given it by people who are the only reason you are here to be tired at all. There is one more piece of this worth sitting with, because it explains something you have probably felt without naming it. The light sleeper does not just wake more often, they wake with information. Sleep researcher David Sampson has described how people who surface easily in the night tend to come up already oriented, already listening, already reading the room in the dark. A deep sleeper pulled suddenly from that heavy stage is groggy and useless for several minutes. The sentinel is not. Their brain kept a thread running the whole time, low and quiet, ready to pull them up clean. In a group on open ground, those first clear seconds were the difference between noticing the danger and sleeping through it. You carry that same fast wake. It is why you can be asleep one moment and completely alert the next when a sound is wrong, a door opens, a child cries in another room. Parents of newborns discover this the hard way and then never quite lose it. The wiring that keeps you thin in your sleep is the same wiring that lets you snap awake for the people you are responsible for. It was never only about predators. It was about being the one who hears. So the restlessness has two faces. On the bad nights, it is a burden, a body that will not stand down. On the nights that matter, it is a gift, a body that stays ready when everyone else has let go. You did not choose it, you inherited it, passed down from every ancestor who kept one ear on the dark so the others could rest. The night still finds you, and some quiet part of you is still, faithfully, keeping watch. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.